Hey, happy Tuesday morning to you, everyone. Hope you'll excuse the voice this morning. I kind of had a little bit of difficulty with some coffee a moment ago, and it kind of got in there and doesn't want to free up. But anyway, welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. Okay, we're in the midst of a thematic and right now a linguistic study of 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and Paul's discussion of the resurrection. I shared with you that some of the words that Paul uses simply cannot be taken as a discussion of a biological body that goes into the ground and comes out. It simply does not work. Paul, as he is discussing the body of dishonor versus the body of glory, as he discusses the body that is natural versus spiritual, as he discusses the body of corruption versus the body of incorruption, that which is mortal versus immortal, Paul introduces us. It's actually run throughout. He just simply hasn't expressed it explicitly. But he brings out his two-Adam doctrine. Now look, Paul's two-Adam doctrine is a major element of his eschatology. We find it, pardon me, we find it in Romans, we find it here in Corinthians. It lies behind all of his discussion of resurrection and eschatology. Adam was the problem, Christ is the cure. Adam was the first man, Christ is the second man, Adam. Okay, with that in mind, I want you to notice again that in light of these contrasts, mortal immortality, corruptible incorruptibility, shame versus glory, all of those contrasts, he then says, and so it is written. The first man, Adam, became a living being. The last Adam became a life-giving spirit. Now look, once again, just as I pointed out yesterday, when I pointed out verse 47, the first man was of the earth, earthy, and the Greek word earth there, translated earth, is a fascinating word. I mean, 1 Corinthians 15 is the only place it's found in all of the New Testament. When you go to the lexicons, they don't give you much help on this, but I suggest to you that in this context, as it is used, it doesn't refer to dust. I don't think it can refer to dust. Look, the first man was of the earth, made of the dust, and it's literally out of the earth, earthy. It is out of koikos. I mean, that's what it says. The second man is the Lord from heaven, literally out of the heaven. Now, as I pointed out yesterday, if we're talking simple biological substance, Jesus was every bit of much as a man out of the dust as Adam was. He had a flesh and blood body just like Adam did. Hebrews chapter 2:14 and following. It makes that abundantly clear. In regard to his humanity, in regard to his biological body, there was no difference between Adam and Jesus. So, since the writer is absolutely contrasting between Adam and Christ, there's something more going on than a simple discussion of biological substance. Well, go back up then to verse 45 to verify that. As it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living being, literally a living soul. The last Adam became a life-giving spirit. Well, wait a minute. The first man, Adam, was a living soul. Wasn't Jesus a living soul? In his humanity, in his incarnation. Where's the distinction there? But you see, the writer is drawing a distinction. He is drawing a distinction between Adam, who is simply a living being, and Christ, who could give life. Christ alone, who has immortality. 1 Timothy chapter 6, 15 and 16. And so, once again, to drive this point home, the contrast is simply not between being a living person versus a living person. It is not a person of the earth versus a person from heaven. No. It has to do with realms of existence. Realm of function. Realm of nature. Not substance, nature. And when we view it like that, since Paul says living being versus life-giving spirit, out of the dust versus out of heaven, very clearly, Paul is not focused on biological substance, because Jesus shared biological substance with Adam in every way. That cannot be the contrast. It is realm, it is function, and it is nature. Not nature as far as substance is concerned, but nature as to function. And we're going to drive that point home even more in our next video when we talk about the image of Christ. The image of Adam versus the image of Christ. Now look, folks, living soul versus life-giving spirit. Out of the earth, earthy, versus out of heaven are both direct correlates to the image of Adam and the image of Christ. And there simply is no way to make that contrast, to reiterate, a contrast in biological substance. It simply does not work. Well, I'll have that on the flip side. In the meantime, get yourself a copy of the book, Daniel Rogers' excellent new book, The Last Enemy and the Triumph of Christ. Go to my website, BibleProphecy.com, order the book. Be sure to send me a note telling me you saw the offer on YouTube or Facebook, and I'll refund all of your money except $8. Your total cost, $8. Once again, I apologize that we cannot do this for overseas orders. It costs $15 to send a copy of this book to Australia. I wish we could. We simply cannot offer free shipping. Okay, thanks so much for joining me. Don't forget, on the flip side, we're going to be looking at the image of Adam, the image of Christ. We'll see you there.